Hello, I'm Dr. Ross Walker and welcome to the Checkup. I'd like to talk today about herd immunity, and I've got to say to you, what I'm about to say is not accepted wisdom, which is a real shock for me, but to me, this again just makes biologic common sense. Now, I've mentioned before in a checkup that I think it's ridiculous to keep children home from school, and I'm delighted they're now back at school doing what they should have been doing from day one. So what's the issue here? Well, let's talk about herd immunity. Most people, and including most microbiologists, believe that herd immunity is 60–70% of the population either get the infection or are vaccinated, and therefore little bits of the antigen, which are the viral proteins that come off the virus, are exposed to other people who then pick up the immunity, then the whole population's immune. That's what herd immunity is all about. But I don't think it's that straightforward. I believe what happens is that if you say, for example, have a population of 100,000 people and you put any virus through that population, about 50,000 people get the virus and 50,000 don't because they already have immunity to it. Or their immune system is so healthy, it just chunks up the virus and gets rid of it quickly. But it's the same thing with the coronavirus. When you get exposed to the coronavirus, it enters your cells, your healthy respiratory cells, or maybe your unhealthy respiratory cells if you have a chronic lung condition or you're stupid enough to smoke. And then basically the immune cells then come to those healthy cells and start chewing on the virus to break it up into little bits. And then you breathe out little bits of that virus. Now, those little bits you're breathing out may not be infectious, but they can be what we call immunogenic or antigenic, so they can still induce an immune response. So what is the best way of spreading the virus through the community and spreading immunity through the community? Let healthy young immune systems be exposed to the damn virus. And that's the point I'm making here. If you send children to a thing called school, you allow them then to transfer little bits of the virus, maybe not the infectious bits, but certainly the antigenic bits between each other and the teachers, who I think should be below the age of 60. So I still believe during the days of coronavirus, teachers over the age of 60 or teachers who have some other chronic condition probably shouldn't still be exposed to children, but that's another discussion. But what happens then is you're spreading the virus quicker through the community, but through healthy people who can scrunch up the virus and just spit out little non-infectious bits, but bits that still allow people to get some sort of immunity to the entire virus. Now, again, that is not accepted wisdom, but I believe that's exactly what happens. And this is why we do see most viruses fizzle out after about 4 or 5 months, or maybe even quicker than that. So obviously during most winters, we see influenza, and influenza fizzles out when the weather becomes warmer, but it also fizzles out because people are getting this herd immunity that I'm discussing. So the only real viruses where you don't see this are things like HIV, because HIV directly affects the immune system. It directly gets into the immune system and basically stops it working effectively. So it's a completely different type of virus to something like the coronavirus or influenza. And let me make a point here that having the flu vaccine does not protect you against anything apart from influenza. It does not protect you against the common cold. It does not protect you against coronavirus. It doesn't make your immune system work any better apart from protecting you against influenza, but it's still a very good thing for you to have. But I believe we should be spreading herd immunity. And so the only ways I've really disagreed with the way the government's handled all this is that stopping children going to school and stopping people from going outside. That's the checkup. We'll talk with you next week.